Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to part 8. Number 8. It's really part 3 of DSP's worst gaming moments of 2024. So far, for what we've imagined DSP is salty that people are granting him channel memberships for next to nothing, and he's also triggered by the fact that, guess what? He might not nearly be as good at playing Street Fighter 6, especially when against Cammy, compared to some of the best players in the game. So, seems kind of very standard fare that as long if DSP is not winning, then he is not trying. So, we move on to part 2, number 8. So let's go.
Evo top 8 finalists, let's go.
At number 8, it's DSP Politics. This show fucking sucks.
Oh no. Oh no.
I understand that if I am going to continue to be relevant on the internet and I'm going to continue to have an audience that likes me and will support, I have to evolve.
No.
Okay? And you guys have been asking me for years for political content. Well, here's the
Never a good idea, Phil. You've got to know. Listen, Phil, if you are going to do that, then let me tell you something right now. You've got to know what you're talking about. And also, be prepared to go up against people who don't agree with what you talk about, even if you are saying the right things. Oh. Oh no, this is going to be
message that apparently people across this country, the United States of America, have been receiving since the election ended. Okay? I'm going to read it. Greetings, you've been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation. Be ready at 10 p.m. sharp with all of your belongings. The executive slaves will pick you up in a brown van, so be prepared to be searched down upon arrival to the plantation. You are in Plantation Group A. Okay then.
What?
There's a few things that I feel like we need to address before we can even continue. The first thing it says is that this text message is going out to people of color. Did the news story actually present any evidence of that whatsoever besides the one woman who was interviewed and the one person who I believe was a pastor or, you know, some religious leader who said that certain people that he knows have gotten it? Okay, where is the evidence that this is only going out to people of color? So why is the FBI investigating this? The Federal Bureau of Investigation is
because this sort of thing, if it happened across multiple states, Phil, then the FBI absolutely has all the right to know what's going on, because this isn't something that isn't just being specifically delegated to anywhere specific. It's been specifically targeted to many people across the United States. That's why the FBI are involved.
Is investigating a mean text message. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know who I am. Allow me to explain. My name is Darkside Phil. I've been a content creator for 16 years. I have arguably received more harassment of this nature and far worse in the 16 years that I've been a content creator than probably almost every person on earth. There's probably maybe another 50 people who got it worse than me because they're like, you know, horrible, awful murderers and crime committers and shit. But I've had it pretty fucking bad. All right? If the FBI investigated every time that I got a mean tweet, a mean text, an email, a post, shit, there's people who have entire businesses based around talking shit and insulting me and my family members. The FBI would need an entire fucking wing, a building full of agents, personally investigating all the mean shit that's been sent to me or...
Wait, let's see this full one, because, yeah, oh boy, Phil, you really... Yeah, like I said, this was always going to end in tears, this wasn't it? My king, this is the most old man and cringe take I've ever heard. As your loyal advisor, I suggest you come to my paint bed and inhale the vapors with me and see the errors of your ways. This is not a method of happiness. This show is invoking madness.
Said to me or my family members, because that's how much there's been. Is there a single FBI agent
Phil,
who's ever investigated an
politics.
insult towards me? No. So why is...
LFMAO, shut the fuck up. Remember why you got it, though. You were a ballsy motherfucker that insulted nerds. Yeah. Can we have 2010 back, before the incident, before the sweater, before WWE champions?
Is the FBI investigating this particular text message? What is the trigger here? It's not against the law. We don't even have any evidence that...
Yeah, victim mentality is not political. You're absolutely right. That's why, listen, I know Hassan gets a lot of flack for the things he talks about, but you know what? He doesn't do this, because you're gonna have a thick skin in this, and for someone who lives in the Emerald City, I'm surprised DSP really is this weak. By the way, Phil, we don't need to be told how many times you've been harassed and trolled, Phil. We already know, because you keep telling us. It doesn't matter. So keep that separate. That's why I keep the content of my videos separate, because no two subjects are really alike.
That this has been sent specifically to people of color, or at least the evidence hasn't been presented to us. I would like to see it. Like I said, if that evidence does exist, I would actually be like scared. Like, how the hell did they get that information that they're targeting certain races? I don't even know that's possible. How would you know the color of someone you're texting, right? But none of that's been presented. What we got in this news report is 2.5 minutes of fear-mongering. That someone out there is racist because the election went one way, and now if you're a person of color, beware, because you might get mean text. This is front page news. This is really, really important. No, it's not at all.
You know what? I made a video earlier this morning saying that Phil was completely in the wrong for doubling down on why he is more than allowed to use the R word whenever he wants. And how apparently one of his reasons why is because black people can say the N word whenever they want. Phil, you don't know that, Phil, though, do you? Because unless we need to let's remind ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, Phil is... It's just like the way that Duke put it in Fritz the Cat. You've got to be a crow to know what a crow goes through. And Phil has absolutely no idea. Absolutely nothing at all. And to think, ladies and gentlemen, we lose guys like Etika, and Phil is somehow still here making an ass out of himself. Do you think Etika would have liked the concept of the Nintendo Switch 2? I think he probably would have. Rest in peace, Etika.
Ladies and gentlemen, we live in the year 2024, and there are grown adults who don't know how to handle trolling yet.
Irony!
So all my tax money, everyone's tax money in this country that we're paying, and it goes to fund the FBI, this is what they're investigating. They're not stopping criminals, they're not stopping drug dealers, they're not stopping mass murderers, they're stopping the mean texters. Well, I'm glad I will sleep soundly tonight, sending in my thousands of dollars of tax payment for the month to the feds so that they can stop the mean text. Man, let me tell you, amazing. So who's the racist then? Because if I say it and I'm white, it's one thing, but if I was black and I said it, it would be something else.
Because Phil, unless you have received because Phil, you're not the because Phil, unless you've received a text yourself, you're not the victim of this. You are not the victim of whatever the hell is going on. So stop pretending you are, and pretending that just because it doesn't affect you, that means that you can say whatever you like and you're squeaky clean. You know, if there is one crime that I do know that Phil is accountable for, that he could be held accountable for, and it's that of deception. The fact that Phil continuously brags and begs for money and stuff like that, and then will just, whenever he does receive money for one reason or another, he spends it on WWE champions. You know, it could be argued that somebody could take Phil to court saying that he is claiming money when he declared bankruptcy, and he is spending the money under false pretenses. So... tell me, Phil, what do you think about that?
That means that you're a racist. So congratulations on proving your racism here tonight on DS Politics. When you're becoming a public servant...
By the way, when I say deception, like, I think deception, at least in the United States, I think deception is one of those things where it works on a very case by case basis, and I'm not entirely sure if it's. I think it's like, at least in the US, or maybe it's in the state of Washington, it can carry a jail sentence for about 12 months, I think. I might have to take a look into that. Oh.
Serving. You have to find what the common threads are that people are interested in the most.
Oh my God.
To commonly serve the most people at once.
Not the swiftest.
Yes, you can also handle the outliers. You can do that. But you must handle the common things first. And the Democrats seem to stay away from the common threads of what people wanted in America more than anything else. There was no open discussions on how to fix this shit. Only, re-elect us and we'll make things better. But you're already in power, right? In any election cycle, it's easier to be the incoming party that takes over from a party that is messed up than to get reelected.
You know, DSP puts that, but then again, I don't think DSP has called to the fact that there's only two main political parties in the United States anyway. It's the Republicans or the Democrats. So no matter who is in power at the moment, it is almost, by his logic, it is almost always going to slide to the opposition one way or another.
Because to get reelected, you had to have 4 good years. And the Democrats did not. Biden and Harris did not. And
correction, Phil, that's it. It's not always the case. Bush Jr. didn't exactly have 4 good years. You know, he basically had to go to war. So what? Phil, you do not know what you're talking about, do you? What does Phil forget about the modern politics side of this. What exactly does Phil know about, like, American history? What does Phil know about Washington sailing on the boat across the Delaware? What does DSP know about the Boston Tea Party? What does DSP know about the significance about why we even bothered have the Americans had the Declaration of Independence in the first place? What does DSP think about why they wanted to break away from the British in the first place? Does DSP know, or is he just winging it because that's irrelevant and we're instead talking about what's happening today, not what happened 300 odd years ago?
All the other Democrats that were in charge, at this time, were not doing a good job for the common American person, period. Or else they wouldn't have lost the common vote. Maybe they would have still lost the electoral college vote. But absolutely, they wouldn't have lost the common vote. They lost everyone's common vote. And it's their own fault. Because they have Will Ferrell and Beyonce and Oprah dancing around like puppets, getting paid giant sums of money to do so, by the way, and no one gives a shit about them anymore. No one. Oh, wait, you're telling me that the Swift...
Okay, right, okay, so here's the thing. You've ironically, you've actually got me there, DSP, and you really do, because I've seen the coverage quite a lot myself. There was no perception that wealthy, well-to-do celebrities had any more, or they knew exactly what the common man was thinking about, or how hard it would be for some people who don't live the lives that those living in Beverly Hills or in Hollywood would know. I mean, Keanu Reeves might be the closest person that if Keanu Reeves went on stage and he endorsed Kamala Harris and he was like very well dressed and he told it straight and as it was, I think people would have a lot more room for that, because Keanu Reeves was the sort of man who it seemed nobody wanted, and yet everybody loves him because he knows fine better than to do good is better than to be seen to do good. So here I sit and wonder to myself, well, okay, legitimately, I do think DSP actually has a good point in all of this, but why did he say this when this was going on? Why did he, why is he saying that after the fact that that Trump won? You know what I mean?
If these couldn't win the election, well, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? I have a big news flash for you. Swifties don't fucking vote. They sit there brainwashed listening to Taylor Swift all day. They probably don't even know how to vote. All right? It didn't affect anything.
And you've completely thrown it away, Phil. Phil, I had you. You made a good point. And you just say that they don't know how to vote. Oh, man.
Taylor Swift said to vote for Kamala Harris. All those cat women sitting around their homes with 14, 15 cats, guess what? Their cats can't vote. So it didn't matter that they were behind Harris because there were only one vote. The common fucking person voted and won this election. The answer is quite simple. The Democrats were not in line with the American people, and that's why they lost the election, period.
You know, maybe it's, you know, even though my perception of, like, American politics, because it is such a very different minefield compared to what happens here in the UK, I always did want to ask the question, and maybe there'll be people out there who can answer me this. Why do people vote? Why do people vote for men like Donald Trump in the first place? Because it's a good point, ladies and gentlemen, because something that, again, is very applicable here that the Americans understand as well was that no matter how much Donald Trump knows his actions make him an incredibly polarizing figure, even though a lot of people know that the company that Trump keeps and those who try to worm their way into his inner circle like Nigel Farage or Suella Braverman or Liz Truss, I think Trump and, again, all those in his inner circle, even they do realize the fact that they still need you to vote for them. They still need your help to get them into the White House. So, and it's the same here. It's the same in any democratic country with the ability to vote. So the question I ask, ladies and gentlemen, and it's that, well, unlike, let's say, Russia or Belarus, which is by all intents and purposes a police state, as far as a dictatorship is probably the better phrase for it. They do have the right to vote, but unfortunately for Russian citizens, it's not held to secrecy. There will be people who watch and specifically want to know who they're voting for. But yeah, what is the attraction to? Because here's the thing: it could be the attraction to Trump. It could be the attraction to Vance. Could also be could also be a factor because I heard a lot of talk about apparently Vance might become the next president if once Trump's second term is over, because I don't know, people seem to look in the direction of Vance because, well, four odd years to go, and, well, unfortunately Trump won't be able to get to run for the third term. And even then, he'll be into his mid-80s by that point. And sooner or later, you guys know that, you know, Trump's age, one of these days, really will start to become a problem. But then again, who am I kidding? Biden was knocking on 80 by the time he became president. So what do I know about what the average American wants?
All right.
Anyway.
That was a good segment, huh? Ladies and gents, our third and final topic of the premiere episode of DS Politics is one that actually is local to me. This may not be something that affects all of you, or maybe it does. It does affect all Americans because this time of year is a time of giving. As you know, it's November 2024, and we have a national holiday at the end of the month. It's usually the final Thursday of the month. It's Thanksgiving. This is a time when we get together with friends and family and we give thanks for all the amazing things that we have in our lives. We're supposed to feel grateful for the good things. And a lot of us get together and have a big meal of turkey and stuffing and sides and potatoes and all kinds of stuff. We use it, gorge ourselves, and it's a tradition. It's just something we do every year. All right. However, this time of year is also a time of year when you got to think about the needy. What about people who don't have the ability to get together with friends and family and afford a big meal? What about people who are hungry? They deserve to have a nice Thanksgiving too. Hell, they just decide, they deserve to eat at any time. All right? And so traditionally around this time of year, Americans actually donate a lot of food. So, personally, it's at that time of year and I start thinking about it, right? And all right, what should I?
Not that it's entirely relevant because this will go down like a lead balloon, but I can't actually remember ever seeing a news story about an American starving to death. Now, with that being said, that's the sort of thing that can easily be rectified in terms of, evidence and stuff like that. But at the same time, that is... I know probably Phil will relay this to any sort of figures or anything revolving around actual facts about how much is given to, really hard up families and those living on the breadline, but, it is how it is. And there's even an epidemic going on here in the UK at the moment about people are extremely concerned that the gulf between the rich and the poor is spiraling so heavily out of control that literally, unless you're on a 6-figure salary, you won't be able to get any sort of housing whatsoever in this country. I'm pretty sure Gandhi even made a vouch for this sort of thing to be rectified fast. But let's get back to it.
I do. Should I go to the grocery store, grab one of these bags, fill it with food? What should I do, right? And then the other day, as I was watching my local news, I saw a certain topic appear. Once again, I feel like I always have to do a disclaimer on this show and say, I swear to you, I have not made this up. This is a real story, and I can corroborate it because there's actually a video attached. The American Heart Association of Washington says, why donating healthy, culturally diverse foods to drives crucial? The start of the holiday season typically means a spike in food drives in communities. Well, the American Heart Association shares tips on how to best support your local food bank. Let's watch this clip, shall we?
Annual Home Team Harvest food drive is underway, and we're aiming to raise 24 million meals for Washington State's largest annual food drive. Like King 5 and its community partners, other groups may be asking you to participate in food drives. The American Heart Association in Washington is encouraging people to donate healthy foods. Joining me now is Elena O'Callahan, a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and community impact manager for the AHA of Washington. Thanks so much.
So, she's the health person and the community impact manager for the American Heart Association in Washington State, where I live. Let's hear what she has to say.
Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you.
Well, can you tell us
All right, here we go. Ready?
a little bit more about when we're donating to food drives, what we should consider when we're participating?
Yeah, well, something important to know, Farah, is that over 1 in 10 households in Washington struggle to get enough food. And
That's sad.
in some communities, that number is 3 to 4 times higher.
That's
so
awful.
food banks and pantries play a vitally important part in helping people access food, that very, very basic need. And during their holiday food drives, they can collect a lot of food for the year, beyond just the holiday season. So it's very important for them.
You heard what she just said. During this time of year, Thanksgiving time, these food banks will build up food that's a surplus for the rest of the year. Okay, let's continue.
Do you have some healthier suggestions people could buy when they're looking for things to get at the store to donate to a food drive?
Yeah, so if donors are thinking about what healthy foods can they contribute, things like canned fruit without sugar, canned low-sodium vegetables, beans, and heart-healthy whole grains, things like oatmeal and brown rice are great.
That all kind of makes sense to me, does it not? I think that's pretty reasonable stuff. That makes sense. Okay.
Great examples. One thing that's often overlooked by donors is the need for spices, which can help families create flavorful meals without all the salt. One thing that's really important.
Chickpeas and garbanzo beans. Chickpeas and garbanzo beans for Thanksgiving. That's not in the top 50 things I would think about if I was thinking about American Thanksgiving, would be chickpeas garbanzo beans.
Important to keep in mind as well is reaching out to the food pantry before you donate to learn more about their capacity and what the needs are of their shoppers.
Now, I've seen the Heart Association focus a little bit more on encouraging people to donate culturally diverse, culturally relevant foods. Why is that important to the Heart Association?
Culturally diverse, culturally relevant foods.
Oh boy, here we go.
I'll be honest, until I saw this story, I didn't even know that term existed. Like, I understand that different cultures eat different cuisines, but let's see what they have to say about this. Now, keep in mind, the whole idea is that around Thanksgiving, Americans go to the store, you're already shopping for your own family, and you grab a bag and you fill it with food so that someone else can have a Thanksgiving meal. That's the whole idea of these donation drives. They even spin them. They say it's the Thanksgiving drive and things like that. So what are they going to say about culturally diverse foods?
Yeah, and so when we think about holiday staples, not everybody needs and wants mashed potatoes and turkey. Although we know a lot of families prepare and share meals together, that's part of their holiday tradition. So in order to speak to all communities, we really want you to think about reaching out to the food bank. They are listening to the suggestions and the needs in their community and are able to guide you on what to donate. So check out their social media feed or their websites, or even call them directly to learn that information.
Okay.
So you're at the grocery store, you're getting the bag to fill with food. You go down the aisle, well, what am I gonna get for Thanksgiving? Sweet potatoes, put that in the bag. Mashed potatoes, put that in the bag. A turkey, put that in the bag, right? All the things your family wants, whatever kind of veggies you put them all in the bag. And you go and you check out, thanks, but this isn't what we wanted. What do you mean? Oh, well, aren't you aware? You live in a culturally diverse area. Not everyone just eats American Thanksgiving dinner here. So we don't want this. What do you mean? I thought this is the Thanksgiving food drive. That's the point. It's Thanksgiving. Everyone's gonna have a Thanksgiving.
You know, DSP might have the right to appear somewhat confused, but there's one question I do want to ask Phil, and this is something that alone can is gonna make or break this whole whatever this is. Has Phil actually ever gone down to the store, gone to Target or Walmart, and actually donated food to his local food bank? Because here's the thing. If Phil did that and they still said no to him, yes, I would be a little bit suspicious about now all of a sudden they're... But again, the whole point they're trying to make, ladies and gentlemen, as well, is that it's also trying to prioritize healthier forms of living. And it is possible, I'm sure it must be possible somehow, that you can have a Thanksgiving meal with half of the salt that comes with all the flavoring and everything else taken out. So you need something that is going to make the, because there's no point in literally just buying out 5 bars of chocolate and just putting it in the drive and saying, there you are, go nuts. You need something, because here's the thing, when it comes to living day to day, ladies and gentlemen, that no matter what your income is that the fundamentals, the most basic thing to take a look at is the diet everybody is living on. A human being is primarily a bag for putting food into. And in order to keep this bag afloat and not going to be drift away on the wind, is that you've got to be able to balance it with healthier forms of... I think that what Phil's kind of confused here is that it's more to encourage healthier living as well, and if this is meant to be more specifically about American culture, then that would be fair enough. But again, has Phil actually ever donated to a food bank? That's the first. That's the make or break with this argument. Is whether or not he's actually done it himself.
Thanksgiving meal. That's what I'm buying the food for. No, that's not good enough. You got to go to the website of the food bank, your local food bank, and you got to contact them directly on the phone and ask them what they want, and then go buy the specific things they want to donate. There's a saying, okay? The saying is, beggars can't be choosers. What?
Oh,
But
my-
apparently in the modern era, the modern day, 2024, actually, beggars can be choosers. They're outright telling you, no, don't just donate whatever to do the good thing or the right thing or to give someone food. You have to give them specifically what they want to eat as well. Because if they're starving and they're coming here to a food bank or they're going to a soup kitchen, they don't want to just eat the swill you bought for them. They want healthy food. They want culturally diverse food, the stuff that they're used to eating where they come from. Wait, what? I thought we live in America. I thought everyone's going to eat Thanksgiving dinner. No? I guess.
I get it. I know, you know, there's no point in, like, trying to just blow your lungs out because of how absurd this all is, but culturally diverse food could also refer to foodstuffs in our culture and in our surroundings that maybe we don't eat all too often. See?
It's not. So what they're saying in this story is even though you're participating in the Thanksgiving food drive, you're actually not. What you're doing is you're just giving food to the food bank.
Yeah, that's
And
called charity,
they can tell you
Phil.
whatever they want, and you better give them what they want, because if you don't, you are basically being incredibly insensitive. How dare you even think of donating food if it's not going to be appropriate to what the people in these communities who aren't going to eat Thanksgiving dinner want for food? What? Huh?
Phil.
This just blows my mind. So it's not even go to the store and donate, and that's the ask. Now it's go to the store. Don't go to the store yet. Go on the internet, get the phone number of your local food bank, call the food bank, say, what food do you need? Well, we need garbanzo beans, and we need this special kind of rice powder, and we need this seasoning. We need Chinese five seasoning, and we need this seasoning, and we need that, and we need that. Okay, so then you got to go to the store with a giant special list of ingredients and buy those things to donate. You can't just go to the store and grab a bag and fill it and say, here's food to feed hungry people. That's not acceptable anymore. That's in fact, that's insulting. How dare you try to donate something that's not specifically what these groups are asking for? Okay, let's just finish the story, and then I'm going to tell you what I do. I'm not going to text the local Heart Association chapter to ask them what culturally diverse foods they would like. This is ridiculous.
Why didn't you... Or you could just call them to know exactly what they mean by that, or maybe that was something I was missing. Because maybe that's something I was missing in all of this, but Phil, you cannot be this insensitive. Really?
Okay, at this point, it's like they actually want... Oh, look, an unknown error occurred. I know what the error is. I know what the error is. Okay? Here's what I'm going to do.
Why don't you
Alright?
refresh the-
Listen,
oh.
I want to help people, but I'm
Do
not going to
you?
fucking spend hours calling, getting laundry lists of specific things that I don't even know if I can buy. The whole idea was I do something that I can sacrifice some money, a little bit of time. Not, this has to be a giant fucking endeavor. This has to be a project. This has to be like insane amounts of work just to donate anymore. All right? So ladies and gentlemen, here's what I urge you to do. Don't go to the grocery store and get that bag and fill it with food, because these people don't want it. All right? Here's what you do. You go to feedingamerica.org. All right? This website is a website that is a resource of places that you can actually help with food. Okay? When you go there, do not click the donate link, because that just gives directly to them. Or you can actually volunteer at that food bank. Maybe you don't have money to give, but you could still help. You could donate your time. You could actually sort the food. You could probably serve Thanksgiving meals. You could still do things to help your local community that isn't people demanding that you go crazy, making sure you're buying the right foods, or else you're going to get a lecture and be told that what you did was wrong and how dare you do the wrong kind of charity. Okay? And by the way, since we have so many people here tonight on the stream, I'm gonna ask all of you out there to think for this local Thanksgiving coming up to do something. As little as $1, or whether it's an hour of your time, whatever it may be. All right? Do something to help your local to help your fellow man, to help your local person. Do it. Now, I'm not just saying this because, oh, this is what you should.
I'm guessing this is also the reason why Phil doesn't do charity streams, because, well, are you sure you can be trusted? Phil can be trusted with your money in circumstances like this?
Should do. This is what you actually should do. Okay? And just to show you that I put my money where my mouth is, I already made a donation tonight before I even streamed to show you that everyone should be doing this and follow suit. Okay? Fair enough? I think that everyone should do something for the holiday season to help others. And if it's not good enough to go to the grocery store and donate the food, then do it through there. Don't let these people, the American Heart Association of Washington or Georgia or New York or wherever the fuck they are, don't let them harass you into thinking that your charity is bad. Oh, you didn't do the extra work to figure out what people should be eating or what's culturally diverse enough for your area. Fuck you. Charity is charity. If people want to give, they give. Be happy that they want to give. Instead of being demanding and picky and assholes about it, you take the donations. Cut the shit. All right? So go to Feeding America, find your local food bank, and either do a donation or donate some of your time if at all you can. And if you can't, that's perfectly fine. But we're Americans here, or at least a lot of us are that watch my content. And if you can, you should. Fair enough? All right, folks. Well,
that was a lot, Phil.
That is what I have for you for my very first edition of DS Politics.
Oh, God, okay? That was his first.
DS Politics has been on hold for several weeks, and people are starting to wonder if it's even going to come back.
I hope it doesn't.
I don't know. He said he was going to come back after the inauguration day. Well, it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
He hasn't done shit. It's been embarrassing. This whole thing has been embarrassing. Poor takes, just reading Twitter news, terrible, garbage, shoveling shit of a show. I highly recommend not watching it, ever.
I wouldn't. And I've only just seen snippets of it.
Numbers.
Bloody hell. Oh, God almighty, that was... I'm not even sure where I'm even meant to begin with something like that. Okay, so DSP wants you to donate, but not to... Okay, I'm like... I don't know. I'm beside myself because that was just... What in the world was that? And with all that being said and done, I'll catch you all of you guys for part 4 very, very soon. So, take care, and bye-bye for now, I guess.